Garam smirked and replied, let's talk, shall we? If you leave me and walk away right now, my artistic works won't just stop at Jin's thighs. If you want to save your girlfriend, then chatting with me for a few minutes in a cafe isn't too much to ask, is it? Fine, let's go to the cafe. But if you spout any more nonsense, I won't let you off easily. Hearing this, Garam gave a slight smile. A while later, as she was sipping coffee, she said with a laugh, this flavor is just right. As expected, South Korea has so many delicious things. Hearing her say that, Truman thought to himself, South Korea? Is she from North Korea? Just then, Garam's voice interrupted his thoughts. I'm sorry for being so rude to you earlier. If I didn't provoke you like that, I don't think you would have agreed to talk to me, so I had to do it. Stop beating around the bush and get to the point. What do I have to do for you to leave my Jin alone? It seems like you're misunderstanding me. I'm here to tell you the whole truth. You still haven't stopped spewing nonsense, have you? Fine, let's talk about the truth of the girlfriend you've been with for 2 years being the queen bee of the school. That's probably hard for you to accept, but even so, I ask you to control your anger and listen to what I have to say. Stop babbling and get to the point. You're probably aware by now that I escaped from North Korea. The person who took me in when I had nowhere to go, the person I owe so much to, is my stepfather. My stepfather never let me lack for anything, he cared for me with the warmth of the sun. I opened up to him, and we became close, like friends. But that didn't bring me much joy because the stepfather I adored had to endure painful torment every night. His biological daughter, who he loved the most and had cared for since she was little, Hina, chose to leave him after being bullied for a long time. And the demons who drove her to such a state were none other than Moon Jin and her group. Hearing this, Truman angrily yelled at Garam, shut your damn mouth. This outburst made everyone around them turn to look. Garam raised her hand to her mouth and said, don't shout like that in public. If you keep this up, we might get kicked out before I finish the sweet chocolate drink. I already told you earlier, if you keep barking, there's nothing left to say. Do you think I'll believe your lies without any proof? How could that possibly be true? If you want proof, here it is. Take a look for yourself. My stepfather received these as the family of the deceased. This is information about Hina's case. Read it carefully, because this is the original document. The details of the defendants in the case are written quite clearly. One of the culprits who committed the crime, in terms of personal information and harmful actions, matches up very closely with your girlfriend according to recent rumors, doesn't it? Truman grabbed the papers and, still angry, said, are you kidding me? I could easily fake a pile of scrap paper like this. Do you think you can deceive me with such a stupid trick? I knew you wouldn't believe those, so I prepared something else, tada. This was provided by the Supreme Court of South Korea. It's a service that allows the public to search for cases. The court service lets you view the trial results based on the case number and the names of the parties involved. The name of the defendant, Moon Jin, also appears here. So, what do you think about that? It's a scam. You could have easily created that by taking a screenshot and filling in a fake name. Stop saying things like that. This isn't just an image file. It's the actual screen of the official court website. You only need to know the case number and the names involved to find and see everything. I've already told you the name of the website. Just take out your phone, search, and see for yourself. I don't believe it. It's just a coincidence of names, that's all. Exactly, it's just a coincidence. The name on that website is just a coincidence. You're just creating false information the way you want it. Am I right? Hearing him say that, Garam thought, how could Moon Jin create such a devoted follower like this? Normally, how does he attract people? After thinking, she replied, what? Coincidence of names? Don't you see you're just forcing yourself to believe that? I understand that you want to deny the bad things about your girlfriend, but you should slowly start to accept the truth. No, Jin isn't like that. I've been dating her for 2 years. I just need to ask her directly, and I'll know everything. As Truman was about to ask Jin, Garam suddenly jumped in, no, you can't. But he angrily pushed her away, you wretch, let go. If what you say is true, then you wouldn't mind facing Jin directly, would you? You could refute her lies right in front of me, couldn't you? So why are you stopping me? As I thought, everything you're saying is just made up, isn't it? Look at yourself right now. As long as you blindly follow Moon Jin, everything I say is just like water off a duck's back. What nonsense are you talking about? Let go of me. Truman, unable to grab his phone, angrily thought, how is she so strong? This girl really is someone who bullies others. Meanwhile, Garam was thinking, I failed. I was too quick to trust the information about his indecisive nature. If I let him talk to Moon Jin in this situation, he'll just be brainwashed even more. With no other choice, Garam broke Truman's phone, which caused her to fall to the ground. Truman stood there in shock for a moment before yelling, "My phone!" Garam, astonished, said, "My chocolate milk." At that moment, the shop owner spoke up, "You two need to leave the cafe immediately." As they were being kicked out, Garam said, "It's your fault that I didn't even get to enjoy my chocolate milk before we were thrown out. Shut up and get lost. Get out of my sight, or I'll make you pay for my phone. I can buy you another phone, each one from a different brand if you need. Goodbye, Truman." Honestly, even if you pretend not to care, deep down, you're really worried about the rumors about Eugene, aren't you? Alright, let's do this. Tomorrow at 4:20 p.m., 20 minutes before school ends at Alaro High, go to the back gate of the school. If you trust me even just once and want to see the true face of Moon Eugene, be there and witness everything with your own eyes. In the blink of an eye, it was already the next day. Eugene was texting while thinking, Truman hasn't replied to my messages. Why is that? Is it because I bothered him too much yesterday, and now he finds me annoying? No, that can't be. Truman isn't like that. In almost 2 years of dating, nothing like this has ever happened. What could possibly be going on? And why is that Youngerum suddenly acting so quiet and gentle? I'd rather she did something crazy. But even at lunchtime, she hasn't caused any trouble. She's just sitting there quietly. Now that I think about it, when Youngerum started acting more well-behaved, that's also around the time my dear Truman disappeared. Could it be? No, it can't be what I'm thinking, right? At that moment, Youngerum turned around and asked Eugene. Why are you staring at me? What's on your face, class president? Youngerum said loudly. Eugene cursed Youngerum, mind your own damn business. Afterward, Eugene thought, at least she's not causing trouble for me. I should just focus on my studies. I've got so much work piled up. On the other side, Youngerum continued to smile while looking at Eugene. Time flew, and it was lunchtime. Eugene was eating lunch alone, enjoying her meal when someone threw food at her face. That someone was none other than Sihee and Jae and Eugene. Furious, she yelled, "This is insane. You jerks have gone too far." Jae responded. Why not look at it positively? At least today, we're giving you a meal fit for a human. Exactly. Remember when we made you eat dog food on your first day when we took you out? Compared to lying on the ground like a dog and eating dog food, isn't everything better now? Besides, that day we secretly slipped in some snacks without letting Youngerum know, so don't be too hard on us. Hearing them say that, Eugene thought angrily, damn it. I can't believe I thought that dog food tasted good. I almost believed I had the same taste as a dog. I'm so embarrassed. Jae then added, oh, and once you're done, head down to the trash heap. Why should I go there? Youngerum told you to go. If you don't, she'll beat you up. Hearing these words, Eugene started to cry. She thought, please, just leave me alone for once. Can't I have a peaceful day? A little later, Eugene made her way to the trash heap. When she got there, she saw Garam was already waiting for her. Seeing Garam, Eugene thought, how did she manage to climb up there and sit like that? Garam spoke up, our Eugene is here. How was your lunch, sweetie? I found mine delicious. But from the way you sound, it doesn't seem like you enjoyed yours at all. Why are you so lifeless, poor Eugene? You're making me worry so much. My dear punching bag. No, my dear friend, is so down. Do you know how much it breaks my heart to see you like this? Damn it, is she planning to humiliate me again? Eugene thought. At that moment, Garam jumped down from above. As soon as she landed, she exclaimed, ouch. She looked up and said, I haven't even done anything to you yet, and you're already on the verge of tears. Unin, life's been tough for you lately, hasn't it? Let me give you a way to make it easier. Want to hear it? Eugene, still upset, responded. Are you going to tell me that once I'm dead, I won't feel any more pain? Isn't that right? No, sweetie. From now on, I'm going to be serious with you. I want to make a deal with you, so listen carefully. Today, after school, if you do what I say, I won't bully you anymore. Hearing this, Eugene laughed and said, you want me to do something? I'll do it, Garam. Just tell me what to do. I'll try my best to do whatever you ask. So, what do I have to do after school? Garam, seeing her reaction, replied. You need to provoke our class president and beat her to death. Hearing this, Eugene was stunned and asked, what did you just say? Did I hear you right? Meet the class president after school, say something to intimidate her, take control of the situation, and then hit her hard. What? I don't want to. You must be joking, right? You're just trying to come up with a new way to bully me, aren't you? I'd rather die than mess with that Eugene. It's no different from what happened with Rio. Of course, there's a difference, you idiot. You still got beaten before you died, right? Don't joke with me like that. If I get hit in a vulnerable spot, I might as well be dead. And if that Eugene gets mad, it's terrifying. Garam, in front of her, I'm nothing. Aren't you afraid of her anymore? It's not that, Garam is scary, but whether it's getting hit by a car or run over, the outcome is the same, death. At that moment, Garam grabbed her by the neck and coldly said, "Why won't you listen to me, you idiot? Don't you know the survival rate is higher if you get hit by a car than if you get run over? The deal between us is over. Now, this is an order. If you don't do what I say after school, those less than wholesome photos of yours will be on display for the whole school to see. Getting run over by a truck must be so painful. And your answer is, I'll do it. I'll do it, is that what you want?" As soon as those words were spoken, Garam let go of Eugene and smiled, saying, "Of course, Eugene is my favorite friend. I'm really looking forward to what happens after school." After Garam left, Eugene burst into tears of frustration, screaming in despair. In the blink of an eye, it was already afternoon. Chumin was standing outside the school gate, thinking, this is in front of Eunjin's school. I even came home earlier than usual to prepare for the exam. Is this what a boyfriend should be doing? It's really a sin to doubt my girlfriend, but that's because my girlfriend is being bullied. Even if I trust her and tell myself to be rational, it doesn't do any good. This is something I had to do, even though I don't know the reason. Unrm told me to come here, but if I don't, who knows what she might do to my Eugene. Alright, I'll just do what she wants for now. And while I'm at it, I might be able to get some evidence of school violence too. As Eunjin's boyfriend, I'll stand up to them and save my girlfriend. Just then, a voice called out, "Oh Lala, Chumin, you're really here. Why are you out here? Aren't you still in class? I got out of class early, just like you, and I also prepared something for you." Prepared what? I found a great spot where you can see everything that Eunjin is about to do. A perfect place to hide and watch everything with you. I came here to guide you to that spot, so don't misunderstand me. Come on, follow me, we need to find a place to sit. It's time to face the truth. Chumin then followed Garam. After a while, school was dismissed. The two of them, Garam and Chumin, were standing high above, observing. Garam looked down below and said, "The main actor should appear soon, right? Could it be that Eunjin couldn't lure that witch out?" At this point, Chumin asked, "Hey, what are you holding?" "Oh, this? It's a high-quality video camera I prepared. I've got everything ready to capture the action. Although I could just use my phone like usual, but that wouldn't be as fun, would it? What's so interesting about this? I don't know why you're filming, but you should have asked me first. If you plan to record everything from the start, why did you call me here? Couldn't you just show me the video afterward? Or do you have another purpose?" "Shush, be quiet and look over there," Garam said. She finally showed up. Seeing Eugene, Chumin thought, what am I supposed to do? Just stand here and watch? Below, Eugene was speaking. "Hey Eugene, you've gotten pretty bold lately, haven't you? You even dared to call me out after school. I told you before, the next person I'll deal with after young RM is you, didn't I? Did you forget what I said? Why did you call me out here? What do you want to say?" At that moment, Eugene turned to face Eugene and began to angrily shout, "Shit. Am I really that pathetic? Hey, I'm asking you, am I as pathetic as you say? If I'm so pathetic, then come at me and beat me to death. Finish me off first, you bastard." Chumin was shocked to see this from above, while Garam was smirking. Below, Eugene was taken aback. A second later, she became furious. Seeing this, Eugene was terrified, thinking, Eugene is about to lose it. I'm doomed. Moon Eugene is going to tear me apart. She'll kill me after a few blows. On the other side, Eugene didn't act immediately. She thought to herself, why on earth is that bitch provoking me like this? Both the reason and the timing for her picking a fight with me don't make any sense. But now I can't just turn my back and pretend I don't know anything. And she seems to be aware of what she's doing. I have no idea what she's scheming. Suddenly, she sensed something and quickly turned to look at the opposite building. Fortunately, Garam had already pulled Chumin down to hide. Eugene, still thinking, there's definitely something strange about this situation. Someone must have set this up. Although I don't know what kind of trap they've laid for me, my instincts tell me I shouldn't go along with any crazy actions I was planning to do. Forget it, I'm just going to leave. As Jin started to leave, Jin called out, wait, where do you think you're going? We need to settle this now, you bitch. If you want to go back to the dirt, why don't you go find Garam? If you've got nothing else to say, then I'm leaving. Seeing Jin walk away, Jin was shocked, thinking, I can't just let her go like that. But at the same time, I feel much more at ease with her leaving like this. Although this behavior is very unlike Jin, it makes me feel a lot better. Alright, I've done my best. Maybe Garam will let me off the hook for this failure. At that moment, Jin looked up and saw Garam standing on the rooftop. She noticed Garam's face was filled with anger. Realizing this, she thought, no, what the hell am I thinking? This is Garam we're talking about. She's the type who says one thing and sticks to it, and she could kill me at any moment. If I want to stay safe, I need to figure out a way to salvage the situation. Just like that crazy bitch Garam is thinking. Suddenly, an idea popped into Jin's head. She immediately shouted toward Jin, murderer. Jin heard this and turned back, asking, what did you just say? When Hina jumped off the rooftop, she wasn't alone. You and Seoyeon's dad dragged her up there and forced her to jump, didn't you? You're a murderer, you damn bitch. Hearing this, Jin's face darkened. Above them, Garam was watching and thinking, what are they barking about? Sister Hina. Wasn't it because she was too negative and stressed due to stomach cancer that she committed suicide? Could she really have been forced into it? Below, Jin coldly asked, alright, Jin, who told you those things? Seeing that Jin was interested, Jin smiled, thinking, it's working. Then she smirked and said, do you think I tell you? You should go to the police station and confess, you murderer. At that moment, Jin rushed forward and kicked Jin. The kick sent Jin flying. But it didn't stop there. Jin followed up by kicking Jin hard in the stomach. This kick hurt Jin as if she had been shot. Jin continued to beat her. Above, Jumin watched in shock, thinking, no way. Could my Jin really be acting so violently? Meanwhile, Jin, still kicking Jin, said, yes, that's right. I'm a murderer, but how dare you provoke a murderer like me? Hearing this, Jin, terrified, tried to say, wait, Jin, this whole thing is. But before she could finish, Jin covered her mouth and said, shut up. Your filthy mouth is the biggest problem. With that dirty mouth of yours. I'll make sure you never speak another word again. With that, Jin punched Jin straight in the mouth. Above, Jumin was horrified as he watched Jin relentlessly punch Jin in the mouth. In that moment, all of Jumin's illusions shattered completely. The beautiful memories were instantly destroyed. Below, Jin managed to spit out a hairpin. As Jin lifted her up, she said, from tomorrow onwards, don't you dare show your face at school again. I warned you, didn't I? If you appear in front of me one more time, I'll send your body to medical research. Got it? After saying that, Jin released Jin and kicked her once more. This final kick sent Jin flying, and she lost consciousness. Even so, Jin spat on her face. Min, watching from above, witnessed everything that had just happened. He stammered, no way. Is that really the Jin I know? Meanwhile, Garam was smiling as she looked at the video camera, thinking. Thanks to Jin acting as the punching bag. I've got a very sharp video to use during the final supper. This video is going to play a very important role. At this point, Min was completely devastated. He held his head and said, a murderer, even forcing someone to jump off a rooftop. What the hell are they talking about? What kind of person am I dating? Who is the Jin that I thought I knew? Has my girlfriend been deceiving me for the past 2 years? Damn it. On the other side, Garam looked at him and thought, what's he thinking? I knew he would be in for a big shock, but this guy's spirit is even more fragile than I expected. If this is his reaction to finding out his girlfriend is a murderer, I guess that's normal. But I didn't expect what Jin said either. Regardless, he's still part of the plan. Provoking him further will only create more trouble. This is bad. If the plan fails, my position will be compromised. That department head will climb over me and take control, and he'll laugh at me too. I can't allow that to happen. Look at that guy. If I keep going like this and give up everything, I won't have another chance to turn things around. Today, I have to find a way to mess with them, no matter what. Garam, a girl who loves sweet chocolate smoothies, developed many new interests after coming to South Korea, which were unexpected to me. One of Garam's newfound hobbies is browsing Wikimiki. For a person like Garam, who has always been curious about everything in life, Wikimiki opened up a magical world for her. Furthermore, on Wikimiki, Garam received plenty of inspiration, especially related to revenge. She learned one key thing from Wikimiki. The level of suffering a victim feels upon discovering they've been cheated on is beyond the imagination of those who haven't experienced it. When someone finds out that their spouse or the person they've loved and trusted for years has fallen into the arms of another, the emotional damage is profound. According to Dennis Ox's research, the aftermath of such an event can lead to severe mental distress, including trauma-related anxiety and stress. Therefore, when Garam found out Moon Enzyme had a boyfriend, she decided to pursue this project. In the real world, Chumin was holding his head in despair, muttering, "Damn, there's no one left to trust in this world. I feel like I'm being spun around in this relationship. How could she pretend to be kind while deceiving me for 2 years?" Seeing Chumin like this, Garam thought, given his current state, what can I do to free him from this shadow? I guess I should approach this in the easiest way possible. After all, I don't really understand this shame people talk about. I don't feel any discomfort when tempted by Junmin's shallow allure. But the problem is, for that innocent guy, if I try to seduce him too blatantly, it might just make him even more sensitive. Additionally, some external force may criticize my actions as dark or sinister. So, how should I go about seducing him? At that moment, Chumin spoke up, "Are you happy now? Do you feel relieved after showing me the truth? Honestly, you could have left things alone and pretended not to know. You could have waited until we broke up naturally. At the very least, until we broke up normally, like any other couple who realizes the flaws of the person they love. Do you even know how painful this is? I'm sorry, but please go away now. Leave me alone, I want to be by myself." At that moment, Garam draped over Chumin's shoulders. He turned to look at her as she said, "I'm sorry, but I can't leave you here like this. Did you hear what those crazy bastards were saying earlier? Even Hina was pushed off the rooftop. Although she's not my biological sister, I treat her like family. I can't just leave someone in such deep sorrow alone on the rooftop like this. I'm truly sorry for dragging you into my revenge. I did my best to avenge Hina, who was deemed to have died by suicide. Even though I didn't want to pull you into this, to get revenge on Li Jin, I had no choice but to hurt you. So, please forgive me and understand that I hold no ill will toward you. Given my current situation with the class president, I didn't have any other options. I also feel responsible for your sadness right now, so I wanted to comfort you by sharing my own personal story. This story was unexpected, but when I was young and still in North Korea, it was the happiest time of my life. I had a father who loved me deeply. Even though life over there wasn't as luxurious as it is here in South Korea, just thinking about my future, living with such a loving father, made me content. I didn't feel any jealousy, even though I wasn't the child of one of the high-ranking officials in North Korea. If Li Jin is your whole world, then for me, my father was my everything. But then came that day. My father was a scientist working for the party. His main job was conducting experiments on rats. And the test subject was me. I became an experiment for a research project carried out by the party. The moment I found out that I had a body suitable for experimentation, my father didn't hesitate at all. He began experimenting on me because doing so would earn him the party's recognition. He was so cold-blooded that he experimented on his own biological daughter. That's the truth about my father. At the time, I was just 10 years old and had to endure all sorts of poisonous substances being injected into my body. Those were the worst days of my life, pain that seeped into my veins. All the suffering I endured came from those years. When I was trapped behind bars, like a test rat for my father. Those 3 awful years, every day, I was injected with toxins. I had to clench my fists for 10 seconds, like this, you see? Afterward, half of my veins would turn black, like this. Chumin, seeing Ga Ram's hand, was shocked and exclaimed, "Oh my god, you must be in so much pain." Ga Ram responded, "Honestly, I hate myself right now, but you show me such sympathy. You're truly a good person." Feeling shy after hearing Ga Ram's words, Chumin stammered, "Oh no, I just..." But Ga Ram continued. "Anyway, what I wanted to say is that I've also experienced similar pain to yours. The image I had of my beloved father was just a delusion of mine. I lost everything in one morning, and I thought my life was over. But life brought me here to South Korea, where I met my stepfather. Thanks to his care, I can now enjoy chocolate smoothies whenever I want." She let out a sigh and added, "In the end, the world you once knew will collapse, but even if you think everything is over, if you have the courage to keep moving forward, you'll reach a new world just like I did, right?" Hearing Ga Ram's words, Chumin hesitated. "A new world?" Ga Ram smiled and continued, "I've said too much. You can use another girl to forget your ex, you know? My original plan was to seduce you so you'd dump that Ijin. But seeing how kind and pure you are, my conscience wouldn't allow it. You're a good guy, and someday you'll meet someone even better than her. She continued, as for my shirt, you can either throw it away or use it as a handkerchief if you want. I'm sorry for causing you so much trouble these past days. I'll be going now. Just as Ga Ram was about to leave, Chumin shouted, wait. Seeing his reaction, Ga Ram smiled and thought, as expected, with a sweet, gentle guy like him, a little strategy works best. She turned back with a grin and asked, why did you call me? Do you have something to say? Chumin stammered, you still haven't returned my phone. You're giving me your shirt so you don't have to give me back my phone? Are you kidding me? You promised to buy me the latest model. Now, you need to come with me to the mall, and it's the perfect spot for a date, too. He continued, you told me to use another girl to forget my ex, right? Fine then, if you're going to use me to get over your breakup, you might as well use me for your revenge, too. Ga Ram laughed and said, alright, let's go then. The date to destroy Moon Ijin starts now. In no time, Ga Ram had taken Chumin to buy a new phone. He held it in his hand, looking overjoyed. Seeing this, Ga Ram said, it looks like you really like this phone, huh? Chumin smiled and responded, well, it's the newest model, and it has so many more features compared to my old phone. Ga Ram replied, well then, I've compensated you with a brand new phone. Now we're officially dating, right? You'll follow me from now on. Let's have some fun in this bustling area. Chumin asked, so, do you already have an idea where we should go for our date? Ga Ram answered with a grin, I've already planned a special place for our date, but for now, I'll follow your lead. Chumin nodded, alright then, follow me. First, I'll take you to a great restaurant nearby. A short while later, Ga Ram and Chumin entered a nearby restaurant. On the table was a bowl of noodles, and Ga Ram, excited, gazed at the dish. Meanwhile, Chumin took out his camera and snapped a photo of her. Afterward, they headed to a karaoke bar, where Ga Ram sang with all her energy. Chumin stood watching her with a big smile on his face. When she finished, her score came up 100 points. Later, they went to a photo booth and posed for pictures together. Before long, there were plenty of photos of the two of them, capturing their moments. They then went on a Ferris wheel. As someone pressed the button, the wheel ascended, causing Ga Ram to feel like she was flying into the air. But soon after, her body came tumbling down, landing right on Chumin's lap. His whole body shook as Ga Ram's touched him. Ga Ram turned to look at him with a smile. And Chumin couldn't help but feel like spring had come into his life once again. They continued to play and have fun together, exploring every corner of the town. Before they knew it, evening had arrived. As they walked home, still full of joy, Ga Ram said, thanks to you, I had so much fun today. So this is what dating feels like, huh? Chumin replied, so, where's this special date you've been talking about? You got me really curious. Where are we going for this special date? Ga Ram heard his question, smiled softly, and gave no answer yet. Meanwhile, at Jin's cram school, inside the classroom, the teacher was giving a lecture. To talk about this literary work, this piece has appeared in university entrance exams twice, in 2010. It's a painting that portrays around 30 residents living near the Chanjiachul area during the 1930s, depicted in the genre of folk paintings using the technique of stream of consciousness. Particularly, the suffering of women due to the cultural practice of being daughters-in-law and the tradition of taking concubines in that era is strongly emphasized. For example, this beautiful main character represents the agony of discovering her husband's betrayal. On the other side, Jin was anxiously thinking, damn it. Why hasn't my Chumin replied to a single one of my messages? Why can't I get in touch with him by now? Even if he lost his phone, he could still go to an internet cafe to find a way to reach me. Could something have happened to him? At that moment, the teacher called out, Jin, why aren't you paying attention in class today? You've been staring at your phone the whole time. I'm sorry, sir, she replied. You think just because you ranked first in the last exam, you can slack off in class now? In her mind, she cursed, bullshit. He doesn't know anything about others and acts like he's right. Afterward, she thought, because of that younger him, I've been studying like crazy. Unable to follow along with the lessons. I need to focus on class now. Just then, her phone vibrated, signaling a new message. Could it be Chumin? No way. How could he ignore me for so long? She quickly checked her phone, and her eyes widened in shock. The message was from someone calling themselves Cammy the Crazy, saying, Class President, look out the window. Jean immediately turned to the window, and what she saw stunned her. Across the building, Ga Ram was standing there, waving at her. Jean was shocked and thought, am I hallucinating? How does that bitch know I study here? As her anger grew, her eyes widened even more with terror. Standing next to Ga Ram was her boyfriend, Chumin. She shot up from her seat, trembling with fear, unable to believe her eyes. The students in the class noticed her reaction and whispered to each other, what's she looking at? What's so interesting out there? At that moment, Chumin kissed Ga Ram on the rooftop of the building across from them. Seeing the kiss, the students in the classroom laughed and commented, wow. How cool. An unexpected rooftop kiss, how romantic. Hey, you kids. Back to your seats, the teacher shouted. Those kids, they're from a high school, right? The guy's probably wearing a uniform from mine high school. Do they even know we're watching them? Maybe they enjoy being seen like this. They actually look pretty good together, like they're actors in a romance movie. On the other side, Ga Ram and Chumin released each other. Ga Ram spoke up, Chumin, I always thought you were just an innocent boy. Turns out there's another side of me you haven't discovered yet, right? Alright, now it's my turn to strike back, she added as she pushed Chumin up against the balcony railing. Chumin looked down and saw a large crowd of people staring up at them. Seeing his expression, Ga Ram teased, don't be scared, my love. Have you ever heard of the pendulum effect? What's making my heart race right now isn't the height we're at, it's every part of your body. After finishing her words, Ga Ram kissed Chumin right on the balcony. Across the way, everyone was witnessing the scene unfold. Jean started to cry. The teacher, noticing her tears, asked Jean, what's wrong? Is something the matter? A student chimed in, teacher, look at Jean. She's been acting strange for a while now. Another classmate added, wow, look at him, like a little bunny boy. Makes you want to hug him and comfort him, doesn't it? At that moment, Jean received a phone call from Chumin. She quickly answered, hello? But what she heard on the other end were the intimate sounds of Ga Ram and Chumin. A moment later, Ga Ram's voice chimed in with a laugh, hello, class president? This is my special date with him. Sweet, right? He's mine now, dear class president. Hearing those words, Jean was overcome with rage and screamed out in anger. Seeing her furious, the teacher said, Jean, calm down for now. I'll arrange today's lesson and send it to everyone later. Right now, I need to discuss a few matters with the supervising teacher outside. Before he could finish his sentence, Jean had already bolted out of the classroom. As she ran down the stairs, she shouted, on Ga Ram, I'm going to kill you. You be asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. On the other side, Ga Ram noticed Jean running towards her. Seeing this, Ga Ram laughed and said, it looks like the class president is losing her mind. She's running out like a wild animal that's just broken out of its cage. We'd better get out of here. She's a taekwondo champion, so it'll only take a few steps for her to reach us. You know how terrifying she gets when she's angry, right? So, let's run away, my love. With that, Ga Ram grabbed Chumin and they both quickly left. Moments later, Jean arrived at the spot, bursting through the door. But she found no one. Furious, she screamed, that be asterisk, 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 asterisk Ga Ram and that pervert Chumin, I'm going to kill both of you. Meanwhile, Chumin and Ga Ram watched the scene unfold from below. Chumin thought to himself, wasn't that once the sweet and gentle voice of Jean? Now, her scream sounds like the roar of a prehistoric pterosaur. How terrifying. I never want to see her again. Ga Ram, still laughing, said, playing this hide-and-seek game is actually kind of fun, don't you think? It reminds me of running away from a crazy fan. Hearing this, Chumin thought, running from a crazy fan? That doesn't really make any sense. But for Ga Ram, everything happening now was just part of her revenge for her deceased sister. However, Chumin's heart was starting to feel differently. He then spoke up, Ga Ram. What's your ideal type? My ideal type? Why are you asking that all of a sudden? Ga Ram replied. I just want to know more about you, Ga Ram. I'm really curious about you, Chumin said. Ga Ram smiled and answered, my ideal type? Well, I've always imagined someone strong. Switching to the scene in Lee Myung-jun's office, he said, Chief Big, do you know why I always maintain the habit of exercising daily, never skipping a session, despite my hectic work schedule? To help you maintain a healthy body and handle the busy work around you, right, sir? No, you're wrong. Exercising always gives me a feeling of strength. Strengthening my muscles can help increase the production of PDNF, which improves cognitive ability and increases blood flow to the brain, boosting mental alertness. Do you understand what I'm saying? I always strive to maintain the highest level of mental focus so I can plan and get revenge on those scumbags. Of course, sir, you mean we must be patient and wait for the right opportunity, correct? Exactly. So, how's GA Ram's project going? I'm reporting on the current situation of the project. Today, GA Ram successfully seduced 2 men. They went to a restaurant, took photos, went to karaoke, and even visited an amusement park. There have been a total of 4 dates so far. After that, they went straight to the cram school where Jean is studying. On the rooftop of the building opposite the academy, in front of many people, they openly expressed their affection for each other. They successfully provoked Jean. Just as expected. How is Jean now? According to our surveillance team, Jean has been causing chaos on the rooftop for 15 minutes. The building supervisors are trying to get her down. Every 15 minutes, we'll receive further updates about Jean from the surveillance team. Very good. GA Ram has carried out her mission perfectly. You are also an outstanding commander. Thank you, Vice President. I should have assigned the protection and surveillance of Hina to someone as capable as you much earlier. If I had, that girl wouldn't have been tormented by those scumbags so badly. Hearing this, Chief Big thought to himself, I'm sorry, Vice President. Even if I had been there, nothing would have changed. In that situation, no one could have protected her. At that moment, Lee Myung-jun's voice broke through his thoughts again. Now that I think about it, where is GA Ram? Currently, GA Ram is on her way home after eating instant noodles with Chu Min at his dormitory. She mentioned that she has something to report to you directly, sir. Well then, we should head back too. Let's move quickly. Go get ready. A short while later, Lee Myung-jun returned home. As soon as GA Ram saw him, she beamed with excitement, raising her hand and saying, Stepfather. Good evening, Stepfather. Upon hearing this, Chief Big, who was nearby, angrily said, GA Ram. Hey, Chief, be honest. You really enjoy scolding me, don't you? I do not, replied Big, but I told you to go get that arm cast already. Even though I know your recovery ability is good, if you don't get the cast, the injury could worsen and crack even more. Chief Big, you sure love lecturing, huh? If I get a cast, I won't be able to move comfortably. And so far, nothing's gone wrong, has it? At this point, Lee Myung-jun spoke up, GA Ram. Even a light touch could cause a bone to break again. So stop bragging and listen to Chief Big. Yes, Stepfather. I'll go get the cast tomorrow, GA Ram replied. Her response made Chief Big angry, thinking, this girl dares to mock my words. Then, Lee Myung-jun said, so, what is it you wanted to talk to me about directly? Go ahead and say it right here. Hearing his question, GA Ram hesitated for a moment before responding, today, I overheard a conversation between Jean and Jean. It seems Haina's death wasn't a suicide after all. What? Do you know what you're saying? You can't just throw around phrases like, it seems. Have you confirmed this information yet? Although I haven't fully confirmed it, I heard clearly that she was forced to jump from the rooftop. This information is also captured on the camera footage, which has been sent to the surveillance team on site. You can review it there. Upon hearing this, Lee Myung-jun's body showed signs of lowered blood pressure, and GA Ram rushed over to support him. Chief Big also rushed over, saying, Vice President. GA Ram quickly asked, Stepfather, are you okay? Everything was happening just as she had suspected. My Haina wasn't the kind of person who would ever think of doing something so desperate, she said. Stepfather, I know this might be an inappropriate question right now, but to make you feel better, I still want to ask, before I go get my cast tonight, can I use the kitchen? Lee Myung-jun thought for a moment and then replied, the kitchen? Right, we still need to continue with our revenge. In her entire life, Haina never once treated Jean to any delicious food. Today, I'll allow you to use the kitchen, but tomorrow. Jean needs to be fed until she's full. Don't worry, leave everything to me, GA Ram said confidently. Then she headed straight to the kitchen, saying, let's begin by preparing fresh ingredients for the meal. Scene transition. 6 months ago. At this moment, Haina is coughing violently. She is crying, and her mouth is vomiting out cigarettes. A voice suddenly echoes. Look at her over there. She's even vomiting out maggots. It's so disgusting, it's unbearable to watch. Let's see how much she can throw up. 1, 2, 3 cigarettes, just enough. She's managed to vomit out an entire pack of cigarettes. You know what? This also proves that nicotine can induce vomiting. Haina, you've actually helped my experiment succeed. I didn't expect it to work. You're a real scientific genius. Hearing this, Jean responds. Is there any point in treating me like this? Do you think that by bullying someone like me, you'll become superior? Will it make your life any better? Stop laughing like a lunatic. You're just a coward afraid to face those you need to. So you're taking your frustration out on me in a really nasty way. What are you talking about? Even though I'm in this miserable situation, I have no regrets about confronting you. Here, you're just bullies picking on the weak. I'm living a very righteous life and haven't done anything shameful. This is how I'll continue to face people like you. Eugene, instead of taking your anger out on me, are you brave enough to stand up to your brother? Hearing Haina's words, Eugene angrily kicks and curses. Shut up, you bitch. At that moment, Eugene wakes up from a dream. She had just dreamt of torturing enzymes. She thinks, why am I dreaming about such scenes at times like these? Those memories are disgusting and not even worth calling memories. It's okay, I agree with you, Haina. But the shock I caused you was also my way of dealing with my own emotions. Still, Haina, you should know that I wasn't the one who killed you. I always paid attention to the force I applied with each strike and the ingredients and quantity of what I fed you. Damn it, you're a strong person. You endured my nasty tricks while I relieved my stress, and you gained a reputation for virtue. Neither of us lost to the other. If only it were just a mistake. Damn Seo Yun, that bitch ruined everything. That demon went too far and brought you to this state. On the rooftop that day, it was Seo Yun who made me act like a devil. If it were you, would you have been able to resist Seo Yun's orders? To be honest, what did I do wrong? It's all Seo Yun's fault. It was Seo Yun who made me do. That's right, you didn't die because of me. So you need to deal with your damn sister. A while later, downstairs at Eugenia's house. Eugenia is slowly walking downstairs when a voice suddenly calls out. Why are you sleeping in so late today? Will you sleep in like this on the day of your university entrance exams too? Apologize to your father-in-law and stop being so noisy. During the exams, you should be at the top, but is that all you're proud of? Only those who enter university with money, scholarships, and good family backgrounds can see that as a source of pride. Eugenia, yes, father. God has said we should never let our guard down. He always warned us to avoid temptations that arise from within ourselves. Especially when you commit serious crimes. You must follow his teachings even more closely. Regarding school violence, I am not pleased with you. You caused those incidents, and I had to endure it. I didn't bring everything up again to teach you a lesson, considering your mother. I didn't allow you to learn Taekwondo to become an athlete, nor to use it to bully others. Why are you bringing this up again, husband? I'm bringing it up to make sure she always remembers it. I also heard there was an incident at the academy yesterday. You caused trouble again, just like with the school bullying. If it happens again, I will end your life. Hearing these words from her father, Eugenia is terrified. A few seconds later, she hurriedly says, I need to use the bathroom for a moment. Eugenia rushes into the bathroom and immediately vomits into the toilet. Later at school, inside the classroom. Students are discussing. Look at him. The atmosphere in the class is so tense today, isn't it? I saw the class monitor shaking and crying earlier. Really? The class monitor didn't even come to class. Although we don't know what happened, should we place chrysanthemums on his desk? But Youngerum also skipped a period today. So, what exactly is going on? Eugene was sitting there, holding her phone and crying. She stared at the screen, looking at a picture of herself with Truman. In that moment, she felt like her life was over. That wretched Youngerum had ruined everything, even her final exams were doomed. Her father would find out, and he'd kick her out of the house. Most importantly, she had lost two men, the love of her life. She no longer had anyone to lean on. Her life was completely destroyed. She thought that when she killed Youngerum, she would also end her own life. Just then, Youngerum walked into the classroom, laughing and saying, Look at me, I'm Youngerum the mummy. I broke a bone. Everyone turned to look at Youngerum, but Eugene was furious when she saw her. Seeing Eugene's angry expression, Youngerum smiled and said, Oh, class president. I just learned some new South Korean words, do you want to hear them? Your boyfriend is amazing. Hearing this, Eugene trembled with rage and tears in her eyes. She glared at Youngerum and muttered, You filthy whore, you disgusting slut. Youngerum merely smiled and said, Why don't we head to the gym? Come with me. A while later, the two of them arrived at the gym. As soon as they arrived, Youngerum chuckled and said, Here, you can do whatever you want. Honestly, you're tough, getting humiliated like that and still wanting to fight me. How can I lose to someone who only knows boxing? In this open space, my kicks have no limits. Today, I'll drag you down to hell, and I'll follow right after. Let's go all out today. As Yujin charged toward her, Youngrum kicked her hard, sending her flying 10 meters away. Yujin landed on the ground, groaning in pain. Youngurum's squats could reach 250 kilograms. And her kicks were from Muay Thai. At this point, Youngurum spoke coldly, "Class president. I've always wondered. When did you figure out I was a boxer? In the science lab earlier, all I did was some basic kicks, nothing but boxing practice. Did you think you could stand a chance against me? How cute. Honestly, there's a reason I brought you here. This is a special meal, full of nutrition, just for you, class president. Imagine how your body will react when this goes down your throat. It will go numb, and you won't be able to handle it. After you eat this, will you even survive and leave this gym?" She grinned and said, "It's time for lunch, dear class president." Hearing this, Yujin was terrified and thought, "What the hell is she planning to make me eat?" As she walked away, Yujin thought to herself, "There's no way I can stomach that disgusting thing she made. How can I escape from here now?" Seeing Yujin trying to crawl away, Youngrum called out, "Class president, if you push yourself too hard, you'll only make it worse. After that kick I gave you, how long do you think you can last? Even if you squirm and crawl away like that, in the end, you'll still have to drink what I've prepared for you. To make sure you don't run, I'll use these bandages to tie you up. Although the head of the department told me to keep my arm in a sling, I'm sure you understand that sometimes exceptions have to be made for a greater cause." Yujin shouted angrily, "Don't come near me. Get away, you filthy dog." A little while later, Garam tied Yujin up. Yujin screamed in frustration, "Let me go, you crazy bitch." Garam chuckled, "I was going to wrap you up like a mummy, but this bandage is too short, so this will have to do." Yujin groaned in pain, "You psycho. Let me go, you worthless piece of trash. Help, Mom, help me." At this point, Garam tossed Yujin aside and walked toward her bag. "Let's see, where is it? I'm sure I put it in here." Yujin, now terrified, thought. What is she planning to do now? How many bottles of that stuff did she make? Suddenly, Garam exclaimed, "Ah, here it is. This is what you'll be having for today's meal." She grinned, "Let me introduce you to a rubber tube?" Yujin, horrified, yelled, "Are you insane? What the hell is that supposed to help me with?" Garam smirked, "Shut up and listen. With someone as picky and stubborn as you, even if I gave you 1,000-year-old ginseng, you wouldn't put it in your mouth, right? So, to make sure you can't spit it out, I'm going to use this rubber tube to pour it straight into your mouth." Garam continued calmly, "Don't be so shocked. Just think of it like we're doing a simple stomach endoscopy. Got it? Now, open your mouth." Yujin clenched her mouth shut, thinking. No way am I opening my mouth for that. I'm not that stupid. What can you do if I don't open it? I absolutely won't. At that moment, Garam kicked Yujin in the stomach, causing her to gasp for air in pain. As she opened her mouth to breathe, Garam quickly shoved the rubber tube inside. "Now, class president, sit still, won't you? If you don't behave, I'll rip your throat open." Yujin was in agonizing pain as Garam slowly inserted the rubber tube deeper into her stomach. The tube pressed against her insides, causing unbearable pain. Garam smirked as she said, "Looks like the tube hid your stomach lining. Is it hurting? Don't worry, class president. I'll make sure your stomach lining doesn't hurt anymore. Let me give you something to protect it. Enjoy your meal." She continued, "All right, let's begin. Eat up, my dear class president." Garam began pouring something into the rubber tube, which flowed straight into Yujin's stomach. Her stomach was slowly filling up, and she could feel it getting heavier. As her stomach swelled, Yujin thought helplessly, "There's something unknown filling up inside me. It feels so strange, disgusting, at least if I knew what it was, it wouldn't be as terrifying as this. Now I have no clue, except that it's hard and uncomfortable. What is she feeding me?" Yujin's stomach kept growing larger, and she started to panic. Thinking, "My stomach is going to burst." Meanwhile, Garam kept pouring more into the tube. Once she finished a bottle, Garam laughed, "You've already finished one whole bottle of DHA. Guess I'll pour another one for you." Yujin, struggling, shouted, "You dare? I'm at my limit." Garam responded with a grin, "Worried you didn't eat enough? Don't be. There's plenty more to fill you up. I still have 5 more bottles here. I even brought some water for you, in case you get thirsty." She added, "Let's continue. Time for the second bottle." Time passed, and Garam kept forcing Yujin to consume bottle after bottle. After a while, Eugen, in agonizing pain, thought. Damn that psycho Garam. How could you push me this far? You forced me to eat all 6 bottles of that disgusting stuff. Even when Lee Hina was tortured, I wasn't treated like this. And now you're making me drink 2 more 1.5-liter bottles of water? It's beyond the capacity of any normal person's stomach. If this keeps going, I'm going to die from a ruptured stomach. Finally, Garam yanked the rubber tube out, causing Eugen even more pain. Garam laughed and said, "How was the meal, class president? Did you enjoy it?" Eugen, gasping for breath, cried out. "What the hell did you feed me?" Garam, still smiling, replied, "My dear class president. Do you know what happens when dried seaweed meets water? It can expand up to 14 times its original size. A small pack of dried seaweed, the size of a cigarette pack, can be enough to make 40 portions of seaweed soup. So, if someone unaware eats dried seaweed like a snack, they'll end up vomiting and might even take a trip to the emergency room." Garam continued her monologue. Even in North Korea, people who collect and eat dried seaweed that's been left to dry in the sun by the seaside have ended up with ruptured stomachs, leading to their deaths. Now, with what I've given you, you can probably guess what's going to happen after you ate all 6 bottles. With a sinister smile, she added, "I'm sure the readers can already guess too." The thing Eugen ate, the stuff Garam fed her through the rubber tube, compressed into small pellets, was nothing but dried seaweed balls. Garam then taunted, "Now, with 200 dried seaweed balls expanding inside your stomach. What do you think will happen next? Let's wait and see." While Garam was feeding Eugen seaweed in the gym, back in the classroom, the teacher began to speak. "Class president, take charge of the class. Everyone, pay attention." But when the teacher looked around and didn't see Eugen, he asked, "Where is the class president? And why is the class half empty today? Where did everyone go?" Upon hearing this, John and Sihi exchanged glances. A second later, Sihi raised her hand and said, "Sir, I know what happened. The seat in front of me belongs to Song Eun-jin. But she got injured yesterday and asked to stay home to rest. As for the class president and Garam, they both weren't feeling well. So they asked to go to the infirmary during the break." "What? They went to the infirmary?" the teacher asked angrily. "Those kids are probably skipping class and playing around somewhere. Earlier, I had a headache and went to the infirmary for some medicine. But I didn't see anyone there. Do you all think I'm that easy to fool? Now, tell me where they really are." Sihi started to panic, unsure how to respond. "What should I do? Garam said I had to come up with a reason why they weren't in class, but now what?" She thought frantically. The teacher, still agitated, grumbled, "Forget it. They must be trying to skip my class. These students today have no respect for teachers." A second later, he yelled, "If this were the old days, you'd all be getting punished right now." After this outburst, the teacher paused and then asked, "Wait a minute. Did you say Garam went to the infirmary?" Sihi, nervous, answered, "Yes, sir." The teacher seemed to be internally debating something for a moment before saying, "All right. Let's just get on with the lesson. Open your books. Today, we're going to learn about earthquake zones and volcanic activity as part of the Earth's transformations. Earthquakes often occur in seismic zones, which are also where volcanoes tend to form. Volcanic activity is typically quite intense." Meanwhile, back in the gym, Isan was vomiting up the seaweed that had been forcefully fed to her. Each time she retched, her body grew more exhausted, but there was still so much seaweed left in her stomach. Isan couldn't stop throwing up, her body trembling uncontrollably. Her face and expression changed with every passing second. Hearing Isan vomit, Garam laughed with amusement. Isan, now terrified and in tears, cried out, "Why am I throwing up so much? Why can't I stop this? Why does my body want to keep vomiting?" Before she could finish speaking, Isan retched again, struggling as her body continued to purge. She had vomited 56 times in just 3 minutes. Garam stood by, watching each moment with satisfaction. At that moment, Garam spoke up, "Class president, did you know? In Hina's diary, there are 101 entries where she wrote, 'I vomited everything in my stomach.' And you've only thrown up 50 times and you're already complaining? You still haven't reached Hina's record of vomiting. You owe her, and you'll have to vomit every bit of it, principal and interest included. Keep going, class president. If your stomach doesn't explode, it wouldn't be fun, would it?" Isan continued retching, tears streaming down her face as she thought, "Why on earth is this cursed seaweed in my stomach making me vomit uncontrollably? Every time I feel the urge to throw up, it's like my internal organs are about to spill out too. I can't stop myself from vomiting. Worse, if the seaweed keeps expanding faster than I can throw it up, my stomach will explode, and I'll die. How can something this horrifying even exist in this world? I don't want to die from a ruptured stomach, but I hate this constant vomiting even more. It's driving me insane. How can I escape this nightmare? As she was lost in thought, something started rising in her stomach. Garam, watching the scene, was stunned as she saw something solid pushing its way out of Isan's mouth. Garam laughed and said, "Oh my god." Just like Jack climbing the beanstalk. Hearing Garam's words, Isan's terror grew. This is the end for me, she thought. The seaweed has expanded so much that it's stuck in my throat. I can't breathe properly. If this continues, I'm going to die soon. At that moment, Isan started hallucinating, seeing Hina choking her with her hands. Isan, trembling in fear, muttered, "Hina, are you here to drag me to hell?" Unable to breathe. Isan soon lost consciousness and collapsed to the floor. Garam, watching her from above, smiled darkly. She walked over and stomped hard on Isan's stomach, causing her to vomit again. Garam chuckled softly and said, "Don't worry, Isan. I'm not planning to let you die just yet." A terrified Isan, barely conscious, could only think, "What do you mean, you're not letting me die yet?" "Garam, I was wrong. I won't do it again, I promise. Please, spare me, Garam. Please give me a chance to live." Isan begged desperately. Garam smirked and replied, "Isan, don't you remember? Earlier, you said you were going to kill me. You don't remember? I really thought I was about to meet my maker. You disappointed me so much, you know?" As Garam finished speaking, Isan started vomiting again. Between retches, she cried, "Call 199. Call an ambulance, please." Garam laughed. "Oh, look at you, how pitiful. What would calling an ambulance do for you? They can't help you. All they'll be able to do is watch you suffocate to death. But I have a faster solution. Just vomit everything out, and you'll be fine." As she said this, Garam kicked Isan hard in the back, causing her to vomit violently once again. After a few more moments, Isan started to regain a bit of clarity. The gym floor was now covered in seaweed. Isan had been vomiting for 35 minutes straight, retching a total of 382 times. Garam, watching the scene unfold, laughed and said, Look. Anyone who walked in now would think we're farming seaweed in here. Well, it seems like you've paid off your debt, principal and interest included, huh? Good job, class president." Hearing this, Isan, exhausted and trembling, smiled weakly and replied, "Thanks, Garam. So, I've paid my debt now, right? Will you forgive me?" Garam's smile faded. "What nonsense are you talking about, class president? There's still a lot more you need to pay back." Isan, confused and frustrated, shouted, "What are you talking about? You just said I've paid everything." Garam sighed, "Oh, you poor thing. Sure, you've paid for what you did to Hina, but did you know that your actions gave her stomach cancer too? And don't forget the debt you owe for making her jump off the rooftop." Isan's eyes widened in horror. "What? The rooftop? How do you know about that?" As she spoke, Isan suddenly remembered something. Her voice trembled as she said, "So, you were up there that day, watching." Garam smiled coldly, "That's right, my dear class president. I was there. Well, today's game is over. But don't worry about the remaining debt. You'll pay it all, no matter what it takes. I'll make sure of it." Isan, trembling in fear, felt the full weight of Garam's words. Meanwhile, Garam turned to leave and said, "Oh, and make sure you clean up the mess you made in here. See you later, Isan." As Garam walked out, Isan, enraged, screamed at the top of her lungs in the empty gym. Once outside, Garam made a call to Lee Myung-jun's stepfather, "You're safe now, right? I just did something praiseworthy, father." "Have you seen the video I sent you?" Garam asked cheerfully. "Yes, I've watched it," Lee Myung-jun replied. "That seaweed dish looks delicious." Garam giggled, "Thanks, father. So, have you come up with a recipe for the final dinner based on my creation yet?" Lee Myung-jun responded, "Yes, it's time to finish this revenge. The project to eradicate the evil twins, Song Moon-jin and Moon-isan, and the final dinner party will soon be complete. We'll make sure those who robbed Hina of her life pay the price." Just then, another voice called out to Lee Myung-jun, vice chairman. Lee Myung-jun turned to Garam and said, "It seems like we need to end this call now." "Let's continue with our excellent plan, Garam." "Let's do it," Garam replied, smiling. The next morning at Lee Myung-jun's company, he was in his office with department head Big. At that moment, Lee Myung-jun glanced up and heard a voice from outside. "May I come in?" Hearing that, Lee Myung-jun pulled the person to come in. The office door slowly opened, and the person who entered was Song Jin-sik. He was smiling as he greeted, "Hello, Vice President. Have you rested well? Thank you for arranging such a great place for me to relax. Please have a seat." "Yes, sir." As soon as Song Jin-sik sat down, he immediately smiled and said, "Today, when I got to play golf at this wonderful place with a distinguished guest like yourself, I don't know if it's because I got some luck from you, but I found that my shots never missed the target. Although I was the one putting the ball in the hole, how could I compare myself to a professional like you? You've given me quite a few surprises." Lee Myung-jun heard him speak but remained silent, while Song Jin-sik kept laughing after his flattery. At this point, Lee Myung-jun finally spoke up. "I have some unfortunate news for Director Song here. The decision by our corporation to support your efforts in expanding the trade route has been cancelled." "What do you mean, sir?" "Our corporation has conducted a financial review of the trade company, Nongvan, under your management, and we found that its financial situation is not stable enough for us to invest. Therefore, the investment to support the expansion of the trade route has been indefinitely postponed." Upon hearing this, Song Jin-sik was horrified and exclaimed, "This can't be. What do you mean by this? So, why did you call me all the way to distant Thailand?" Seeing his reaction, Lee Myung-jun calmly responded, "You don't need to be too upset. On the contrary, our corporation has a better project that we would like you to take on." "A different project? What project is that, Vice President?" "You may have heard of it already. Our corporation has a subsidiary here in Thailand that is gradually entering the market. Recently, we have been in the process of looking for a company to collaborate with in supplying goods to our subsidiary." "What do you mean by that, Mr. Lee Myung-jun? Director Song Jin-sik, how long will you continue to worry about profit margins in trading with others? Why don't you try producing the products directly at your factory and supply them to our subsidiary?" Song Jin-sik, hearing these words, laughed loudly and said, "If I can take on this project, there is nothing better. Isn't this the kind of opportunity that everyone in the trade sector dreams of? But producing and supplying goods here means you're planning to set up a subsidiary for us here, right? That would require a considerable amount of capital. How much would I need to invest?" Lee Myung-jun responded, "Indeed, the amount you'll need to invest won't be small. From covering legal procedures, purchasing equipment, to buying land for the factory, adding all those costs together, you'll need to have 20 billion won. I will invest 10 billion won, and the remaining 10 billion will be your part, Director Song. We'll split it evenly, 50 to 50. Of course, I understand that raising this amount of money will be a huge burden for you, but this is the best proposal, a big opportunity, that I want you to take on. With this project, it's your chance to provide a massive supply of goods to our Hyundai Group subsidiary. Rest assured, we won't let you down." Hearing these words, Song Jin-sik was momentarily stunned and began to think. One thing he could be certain of was that the subsidiary the vice president mentioned must be Boon Electronics, a subsidiary of Hyundai Group gradually entering the Thai market. Last year, when the parent company's stock wavered, this was one of the few subsidiaries that remained unaffected. If he could consistently supply goods to such a large and stable company, it would be a rare and invaluable opportunity. However, one concern came to mind, and after thinking, he spoke up, "Vice President, I am very grateful for your trust and for offering me such a great project. But unfortunately, our company doesn't have enough capital to operate a production company. I'm sure you're aware of this after conducting the financial review of our company. Even if I try to raise funds through commercial banks and investment banks, I can only manage about 5 billion won." Hearing this, Lee Myung-jun replied, "Then do this. Do you remember the apartment I gifted you? I'll introduce you to a trustworthy private credit company. You can mortgage your apartment and private house in Gangnam to raise the additional 5 billion won." Upon hearing this, Song Jin-sik was shocked and thought, "No, absolutely not. Borrowing money at high interest rates to take on such a large-scale project? This can't happen." Lee Myung-jun then said, "Director Song, please think carefully. From the beginning, I've tried to secure this project to support you in your work. Initially, the company our group considered wasn't yours. However, because I wanted to keep my promise to you, I made this offer. Therefore, if your company encounters any difficulties during the process, we will do our best to assist you, both physically and mentally. This is also clearly stated in the contract. Please take a look and review it." Song Jin-sik looked at the document and thought, "All right, there's nothing to hesitate about. After all, if this doesn't work out, the vice president will be the one to suffer the most. Even for a large tycoon, investing 10 billion won isn't something taken lightly. It must have taken great determination to make this offer. Clearly, providing this capital is a way to bring me to his side. Moreover, the apartment in Gangnam wasn't really mine in the first place. If half the capital is coming from him, then this seems like a gamble worth taking. From the start, this gamble was already set, with the consumer being a large-scale buyer. This is a golden opportunity handed to me by fate. Making up his mind, Song Jin-sik then said, "Vice President Lee Myung-jun, please trust me and leave everything to me." Hearing this, Lee Myung-jun responded, "Good. Then review the contract one last time." Song Jin-sik held the contract in his hand and smiled, "Since this contract was prepared by your side, I'm sure there are no mistakes. If there's any issue." He paused and then continued, "Vice President, this clause here. It states that if the investment is used for any purpose other than what's specified in the contract, I would have to pay back double the original investment. Compared to standard contracts, this compensation clause seems quite overwhelming for me. Is there a particular reason you've included this?" "Oh, that clause," Lee Myung-jun replied. "It stems from some weaknesses within our corporation. It's embarrassing to mention. But as you may know, last year, our group was involved in a massive embezzlement scandal, which started at the highest levels of leadership and extended to directors of subsidiaries and external partners. The corruption and embezzlement were linked to a political party and were uncovered on a large scale. As vice president of the corporation, I was required to cooperate with a government investigation. After being betrayed by those thieves hidden both inside and outside the corporation, I've since included stricter penalties and compensation clauses in contracts. The imposition of higher fines compared to standard contracts is my determination to ensure that such incidents never happen again. It's not that I don't trust you, Director Song, but as the head of the company, I need to include these terms to protect the group's interests. I hope you'll understand my position on this matter." Hearing Lee Myung-jun say that, Song Jin-sik laughed and said, "So that's how it is. Then, what else can I say? I've heard about that already. The person who revived the corporation during that crisis was you, Vice President. You appeared many times on the news, handling the situation. Yes, last year, I had to make a lot of efforts in many ways to revive the corporation. If you've finished reading, please go ahead and sign." "All right," Song Jin-sik replied. He picked up the contract and thought to himself, even though the penalty clause depends on the decision of the one who made it, it feels like that person is secretly preparing for something. As long as nothing goes wrong, I don't need to worry anymore. I just need to ensure I don't violate anything to avoid paying compensation. Let's just sign it." On the other side, Lee Myung-jun saw Song Jin-sik sign, and he smiled inwardly. After signing, Song Jin-sik handed the contract back to Lee Myung-jun. Taking the contract in his hand, Lee Myung-jun said, "This must have been a tough decision for you. You've worked hard, and I'm sure you're tired after playing golf with me. You should go and rest now." Hearing this, Song Jin-sik felt a bit disappointed and spoke up, "Vice President. It seems like you're being frank with me, but I understand everything already. The meaning behind giving me such a big opportunity, though I may silently feel a bit discontent, I fully understand the situation. Just give me your command, and I will always remain loyal and dedicated to carrying out your requests. I understand what you're trying to say. Now, please go and rest." "Yes, Vice President, I hope you rest well too." After Song Jin-sik left, there were only two people left in the room. Department head Big spoke up. "He does have some strategy, but if he thinks he's the one you'll choose to help you get revenge, he's gravely mistaken." "No, Department head Big, that's the truth. Our revenge plan needs Director Song." The scene shifts to Song Eun-jin's room. She was sitting bored in her room when suddenly, someone rang the doorbell, startling her. Hearing the bell, Song Eun-jin worriedly thought, who could that be? No one told me they were coming today. At that moment, a voice called out, "Delivery." Hearing that, Song Eun-jin smiled and said, "It's the self-defense spray to deal with Moon-hee, Eun-jin, and Yeon-jae gum. Finally, it's here. Staying home alone feels much safer now. This is the weapon that will protect me. Moon-hee, Eun-jin, and Yeon-jae, what are you? Do you think I'm scared of you?" Outside, the delivery person smiled when they saw Song Eun-jin come to open the door. "Hurry up and open the door. Your Jae-ram is here." Seeing Jae-ram arrive, Song Eun-jin froze in shock. At that moment, Jae-ram was standing at the door of Song Eun-jin's house. When Eun-jin saw Jae-ram, she was extremely frightened, but still had to invite Jae-ram inside. Once inside, Jiaram took off her cap, her eyes scanning everything in Eunjin's home. Meanwhile, Eunjin, trembling with fear, walked inside, but kept her eye on Jiaram. In her mind, she was thinking, damn it. Why is that crazy woman Jiaram sitting in my kitchen now? How does she even know my address and come all the way here? Well, since she's already here, I have to treat her properly. Better play along, or else she might go crazy again. With shaky hands, Eunjin poured a glass of orange juice and, forcing a smile, turned to Jiaram and said, Jiaram, I don't really have anything fancy to offer you, but would you like this glass of juice? Her hands were shaking so much that the juice spilled over the edges of the glass. Seeing Eunjin's nervousness, Jiaram coldly glanced at the spilled juice and said, Are you suggesting that Jiaram should lick up the spilled juice on the floor? No, I'm sorry, Jiaram. Let me get you a new glass. No need. I don't drink anything except sweet chocolate smoothies. Then let me get you a chocolate smoothie. No, just sit down. That's fine. Oh, okay, I understand. Eunjin quickly pulled out a chair and sat across from Jiaram. Stammering, she asked, Jiaram, why are you wearing a delivery uniform? Are you working part-time as a delivery person? You mean this outfit? Jiaram said with a smirk. Oh, our shy little Eunjin. If you had seen my face through the doorbell camera, wouldn't you have locked the door like fortifying a fortress? That's why I disguised myself as a delivery person, so I could get in here. Hearing this, Eunjin thought, damn it, she really sounds like a criminal on the run. Then she asked nervously, so, you just dressed up, right? You didn't take my package, did you? Why? Were you really expecting that package? If it benefits me, I might just take it. What? You're going to take it? It's just a bear spray. Bear spray? What are you talking about, Eunjin? Realizing she had slipped up, Eunjin panicked. But Jiaram continued, how strange. Living in a place like South Korea, where there are no wild animals, why would you need something like that? Or, were you planning to use it on me? No, Jiaram. I was just trying to ease the awkward atmosphere with a joke. You know, to lighten the mood. Really? You don't know about pranks, do you? In South Korea, people often play little jokes like this when friends visit to break the ice. Is that so? Well, it seems there are still many things about South Korea that Jiaram doesn't know yet. At this moment, someone outside rang the doorbell at Eunjin's house, and a voice called out, delivery. It says here that the recipient needs to accept the package in person. Is anyone home? Jiaram quickly ran outside and pressed the button to answer, yes, I'm home, but I don't remember ordering anything. Could you please tell me what the package is? The delivery man responded, it's bear spray. Hearing that, Jiaram turned back to look at Eunjin. Seeing Jiaram's angry face, Eunjin froze in fear. Jiaram smiled and responded to the delivery man, yes, just leave the package at the door, please. Thank you. Then Jiaram turned back to Eunjin, who, now terrified, clasped her hands together and pleaded, Jiaram, I'm truly sorry. I was wrong, please forgive me. Don't kill me, please. I still want to live. At this moment, Jiaram raised her hand. A second later, she placed it gently on Eunjin's head and sat closer to her. Before Eunjin could understand what was happening, Jiaram softly said, it's okay, Eunjin. You don't have to be so scared. I understand. You must have gone through a lot of pain to order something like that. I won't harm you, so don't worry. By the way, why didn't you go to school today? I missed you. Eunjin nervously replied, I was scared the class president would kill me. Jiaram responded, you don't need to worry anymore. I've already taken care of that violent class president for you, so you can be at peace. Taken care of? How did you do that? You shouldn't try to know too much. It's not good for you. Anyway, you won't be bullied at school anymore. From now on, I will only treat you kindly. So make sure you go to school, okay? Do you understand, Eunjin? Hearing this, Eunjin became emotional and, a moment later, pushed Jiaram's hand away. She burst out, Jiaram, I'm not going to school. Do you think I'm that stupid? Last time, you said you wanted to be my friend, but then you treated me like a dog. Do you think I'll trust you again? Leave my house, or I'll call the police. Please, just leave me alone. Seeing Eunjin's strong emotions, Jiaram calmly said, our little Eunjin is so scared. But Eunjin, this time, you should believe me. By the way, did you know what your dad is doing in Thailand? Today, he's there to sign a contract with my stepfather. From now on, your family and mine will be closely connected. So, if I keep bothering you, my stepfather will scold me. What? Is that true? Of course it's true. Think about it. Unjin began to think, Jiaram, who broke into my house without permission, has no reason to treat me kindly. I know my parents went to Thailand for business. And I realized I'll be home alone until tomorrow. She could have had all day to torture me, but she didn't do anything. Not because she doesn't want to bother me, but because she can't anymore. Dad is the best. He must have negotiated something with Lee Myung-jun. While Unjin was lost in thought, Jiaram's voice brought her back. Unjin, are you going to school tomorrow? Unjin smiled and replied, yes, Jiaram, I'll definitely go to school tomorrow. It seems like our families are in a really good business relationship. Really? Of course, I've even warned Sahi and Ayan not to bother you anymore. Now I had to go. See you tomorrow, Unjin. Okay, be careful. I'll definitely come to school tomorrow. Seeing Jiaram leave, Unjin smiled and thought, that's right. As long as Jiaram doesn't hurt me anymore, it's okay to serve her a little. I used to serve Cha Seoyun, so serving Jiaram won't be a problem. Once I have Jiaram as my backer, I'll become the second most powerful person at Sozo again. I'll defeat those who look down on me, like that Moon Easy girl. I'll become the queen of the logo and reclaim my rightful place. At that moment, Jiaram suddenly came back to the door and said, Unjin, I'm really curious about something, so I had to ask. What would happen if I used this bear spray on someone else? Should I try it on you, just once? Unjin froze in fear at Jiaram's words, unsure whether Jiaram would actually do it or not. A moment later, the scene shifts. And Jiaram is on the phone with Lee Myung-jun, walking and laughing. Stepfather, I went to Unjin's house and convinced her to go to school as you requested. On the other end, Lee Myung-jun responded, good, you've worked hard. You made sure to be as friendly and gentle with her as possible, right? Jiaram hesitated, well, I did tease her a little at the end, but she'll definitely go to school tomorrow. Before she could finish, Lee Myung-jun angrily interrupted, Jiaram, you need to control your behavior. I'm sorry, stepfather, I was wrong. I know you've done a good job so far, but in this final act of revenge, everything must happen at the school. Do you understand? The scene shifts to a year earlier. A man is laughing and shouting, Maji Maji do. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, featuring the most beautiful model ever at Atelier Song Jinwan, the nude photo exhibition of Lee Hina. Everyone, come and see. In the crowd, a man laughed, this photo collection is the best yet. Her body is perfect. No wonder it cost 70,000 won to see it, it's worth every penny. But honestly, I'd rather see the real thing than just photos. Another man chimed in, you don't understand anything. Even if the real person is right in front of you, you can only see this kind of satire through photos. Song Jinwan's work on social commentary is everywhere, provoking the imagination through simulation. The first man scoffed, you're just trying to sound sophisticated. If you want to touch the real thing, just pay extra. Meanwhile, Unjin spoke up, hey, when are you going to organize the next exhibition of the people who badmouth me? Hurry up and expose them. Strip them down, take photos, and organize the exhibition. The man responded, don't be ridiculous. Even if we strip them, they have to be worth something. Some of them make me want to puke just looking at them. Look at Hina here, she's perfect. Hina, don't frown, you'll only look uglier. Save your energy. Some people from the nearby school will be joining us soon. Another person, Song Unjin, added, next time, bring someone worth looking at if you want pocket money, okay? That's how you'll keep your wallet full. Got it, you pervert. But honestly, thanks to Hina, I was able to buy a new handbag. Thanks, Hina, you're the best golden goose I've ever contributed to my brother. Keep making more pocket money for me, okay? Back in the present. Lee Myung-jun was speaking, Song Jinwon and Song Unjin, those two siblings, they'd been bribing the school's security staff. Every night, they hold those shameless exhibitions in the school's gym, involving athletes from Seoul to athletes in Bucheon and Incheon. They've been accepting money from perverts and exhibiting nude photos of 5 girls, including Hina. If anyone tries to leak information about the exhibition, their photos will be spread across the internet and sent to their families. The identities of 218 buyers involved in illegal prostitution are protected. I'll pay to bribe the homeless to act as watchmen. Ji-hae Ram, you must punish the ringleaders. Do you understand? The place where our Hina endured so much pain and humiliation. That's where we'll carry out our character annihilation project, the destruction of the Song siblings' humanity. Following the previous episode, after Ga Ram visited Song Eun-jin's house to comfort and encourage her to return to school, she didn't forget to spray bear repellent in her face before leaving. After doing that, she called her stepfather, Lee Myung-jun, to prepare for the next phase of her plan, to humiliate the Song Eun-jin siblings. In the blink of an eye. A night passed, and the scene shifted to the school. A group of students were playing soccer on the field. From a distant corner, Song Eun-jin sat, her gaze fixed on the group. Lost in thought, her eyes were locked on one student in particular, a boy who was both kicking the ball and laughing, shining like the moon in the dark night, radiant and handsome. Eun-jin, staring at him with a silly grin, was startled when Ga Ram suddenly appeared. Laughing and saying, "Eun-jin, you look like a girl in love." Caught off guard by Ga Ram's sudden appearance and comment, Eun-jin stammered in shock, "What, how long have you been there?" "I've been here since the universe was created." Ga Ram joked, "Even though our Eun-jin only missed one day of school, it seems like you're having trouble adjusting, so I've been watching you closely. And, guess what, I discovered you've fallen in love, it's not what you think." Eun-jin exclaimed, flustered, "Oh my god, what is this?" "You don't need to be embarrassed. Eun-jin. Falling in love isn't something to be ashamed of." Ga Ram teased, "So, Eun-jin. You like Sher Huaraba, don't you?" "What, how do you know about Sher Huaraba?" "How do I know?" "Well, I asked to see he and Ion, and they told me all about it." Hearing this, Eun-jin fumed inside, "Those busybodies always meddling in my business." At this moment, Ga Ram smiled and said, "Hey Eun-jin, you've liked him since the beginning of the semester, right? How fresh and adorable. I wholeheartedly support your love for Sher Huaraba." Seeing Eun-jin's fearful expression after saying this, Ga Ram started plotting. After a short pause, she spoke again, "Eun-jin, what do you think if I help you connect with Sher Huaraba?" Eun-jin, shocked, exclaimed, "What?" Ga Ram continued, "I could be the bridge between you and Sher Huaraba, just like when I was in the north. Once I step in, nothing ever goes wrong. Trust me, I've already seen Cupid's arrow, and I'll make sure it hits the right target." Eun-jin, worried by Ga Ram's words, thought to herself, "She talks like she really has Cupid's arrow or something. This crazy girl, it's a miracle that arrow hasn't hit someone else." Yesterday, she erased my anxiety about coming to school, only to spray bear repellent in my face. I can't trust her at all. I wasn't even planning to come to school today. But her threatening messages with that cryptic name forced me out. And now she's offering to be a bridge? What in the world is she planning to do this time? Seeing Eun-jin stay silent, Ga Ram spoke up, "Hey, Eun-jin, why aren't you answering? I'll do a great job. I promise. I'll help you connect with him." Ga Ram said this with her signature expression, which made Eun-jin even more frightened, tears welling up in her eyes. The scene then shifted to the classroom, where the boys who had just finished playing soccer were laughing and joking with each other. Today's game was fun, Sure who was running a lot. And everything seemed to go smoother, didn't it? One of the boys, Lee Se-ho, was teased, "Hey, Se-ho, why don't you quit the band and play soccer with us during lunch?" "No way," Se-ho replied, "we have to practice hard for the competition during summer vacation." Another boy chimed in, "I heard there will be 5 female students at this competition, if you want to impress them. You'd better work hard." Se-ho laughed, "Dude, last time you told me you had a girl flirting with you on TikTok. More girls is always better." Just as they finished joking, a voice called out from the door, "Wow, you're such a jerk, karma will catch up with you." Sure who quickly responded, "Wait, who are you to say that?" The other boys, seeing Ga Ram standing at the door, blushed and whispered to each other, "Isn't she a freshman?" "Yeah, she's the one who came from North Korea." One of the boys commented, "She's pretty cute up close, isn't she? Kind of looks like an idol, right?" The other boys, feeling shy as Ga Ram walked into the classroom, couldn't help but blush. What's a first-year girl doing in the second-year boys' class? At that moment, Ga Ram smiled and said, "Hello, Senior Lee Sherhu, I'm Ian Ga Ram, a first-year student from Class 6. I came here because I have something to tell you." Se-ho, surprised and flustered, asked, "Something to tell me, what is it?" Ga Ram's expression turned mischievous, her eyes flashing red for a moment as she smirked. A moment later, she said, "My friend wants to confess to you publicly. So they're waiting for you in the indoor gym. They insisted that you must come. So I'm here to pass along the message." The other students, hearing this, started laughing and joking, "Hey, did you hear that? A public confession, grab some popcorn, let's go watch this, you don't get opportunities like this every day." Another chimed in, "Can't believe we're gonna witness something straight out of social media." Se-ho, rubbing his head, muttered, Do you know who's confessing to me?" Ga Ram smiled slyly and replied, if I told you now, it wouldn't be as fun, would it? You'll find out when you get there. Senior, my friend has prepared a lot for this. So you definitely don't want to miss it. With that, Ga Ram politely bowed, I'll be taking my leave now. Don't forget to go. Senior say ho, and left the classroom. After Ga Ram left, Sherhu was left blushing with embarrassment. At that moment, his group of friends rushed over, laughing and teasing him, oh my god, Li Sherho, we knew you were popular, but this is on another level. Shut up, you guys, Sherhu muttered, clearly overwhelmed by all the attention. One of them continued. Hey, are you going or what? That girl's waiting for you. Man, but I don't really like this kind of stuff. Sherhu protested, yeah, right, look at your face, you're excited. Meanwhile, news about the public confession quickly spread to other classes. Students were eagerly sharing the update. Hey, Li Sherhu from class 4 is about to get confessed to. This sparked curiosity, especially among the male students, who followed in a large group toward the gymnasium. On the other side, the female students were also talking excitedly, hey, I heard that the handsome second-year senior in the band is getting a public confession at the gym. Oh my gosh, really? That's so cool. Let's go check it out. We can't miss something like this. Yeah, come on, let's go together. A short while later, a huge crowd had gathered behind Sherhu as he made his way to the gym. People were chatting and laughing amongst themselves. Whoa, since when did this turn into a festival? There are so many people here. I wonder if the girl confessing is pretty. It's a public confession, right? No way she's someone without confidence in her looks. Exactly, Li Sherhu was one lucky guy. For sure, look at him, he's already smiling smugly. A moment later, the group arrived at the gym, initially laughing and having a good time. However, within a second, Jihu's expression drastically changed to one of shock. His eyes widened with fear, as if he was witnessing something unbelievable. Something he couldn't process. Meanwhile, in another scene, a doctor was holding a medical chart and said, Patient Song Jingu, are you aware that today is your scheduled surgery for the reconstruction of one of your testicles? Shocked, Song Jingu stammered, what? But the day's not over yet. What are you talking about? The doctor continued. Today is June 13th, could it be that because you haven't been going to school? You've lost track of time? Hearing this, Song Jingu started to think, could it be? No, that's not right. The surgery is supposed to happen tomorrow. After my parents arrive. After a moment of consideration. He spoke, is it possible you've mixed up my surgery date with someone else's? The doctor replied firmly, no, there's only one patient named Jingu scheduled for testicle reconstruction at this hospital. If you understand, let's begin preparing for surgery. The doctor then added. Now, we'll need to measure the size of the testicle in order to insert the artificial implant. I'll proceed with taking an image of the testicle. Song Jingu, still in shock, exclaimed, what? But we already did that last time. The doctor reassured him, this is the final scan before the surgery. Please cooperate. Ah, that's right, you can't move, can you? The doctor said. Nurse Kim and Nurse Park will help remove your pants. It might hurt a little when they move your legs. But bear with it. As soon as they started to remove his pants, Jingu winced in pain and cursed in his mind. Damn it, every time they move my leg, the pain is unbearable, furious. He thought, Youngdagram, once I get out of this hospital, you're dead. The doctor interrupted his thoughts. Alright, now that we're ready to start the scan. Jingu's eyes widened in horror as he saw a camera positioned near his private area. He screamed, wait, you're seriously using a phone camera for this? The doctor nonchalantly replied, would you rather we use a high-speed camera? Stop complaining, let's get on with it. As the doctor and nurses walked away, Jingu continued to shout, wait, why are you leaving me like this? The doctor responded calmly, just sit tight while we finish prepping for the surgery. If you're bored, you can watch some TV. He turned on the TV and left the room, leaving Jingu in disbelief. Jingu, fuming, yelled at the empty room. How can a doctor treat a patient like this? This isn't how doctors are supposed to behave. His mind raced, something was off about him from the start. As the TV flickered to life, it showed a scene of a girl wearing a collar and dressed like a dog. Seeing this, Jingu paused his rant and burst out laughing. What kind of crazy person dresses like that? They actually look like a dog. What a fool. A second later, Jingu's laughter faded as he recognized something. His eyes widened in realization.